Here's a great treat. I'm delighted to introduce Christina Kozmowski, VP Global Head of Customer Success at Slack. Christina guides us through what it means to manage huge success, from no users in 2009 to more than 12 million 10 years later. When your growth is literally exponential, why do you even have a customer success role?
Thank you, Toby. Very excited here to be chatting with all of you about how Slack, we put customer success front and center to drive growth. So I'm going to talk today, I'm going to give you an overview about what Slack is for those of you that don't know or use Slack. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do at customer success here at Slack. And then I'll go into the tactics of how we build this customer culture. We'll talk through what are our common metrics, how we represent the voice of our customer, and merging customer success and customer advocacy. And then at the end, I'll be available for Q&A. All right, so Slack is a publicly traded company. We have over 2,000 employees across 16 offices across the world, although today our offices are Slack is really our headquarters in this day and age of COVID. We have over 122,000 paid customers. Our developers use 2,200 apps in the app directory, and we have 5 billion actions each week. So what is it? Slack is a communication tool that's channel-based, and it's a platform, and it's for the enterprise. And we believe channel-based communication is the way to go. If you think through email, it's all about the sender and the people that are on the two, where channel-based can be much more open and transparent. We also know that customers have thousands and thousands of software. And so we're really this platform that can aggregate and help customers get the most of all these other tools that they have out there. And then, of course, it's enterprise grade. And so we believe there has to be a better way of working. So how can you have a better conversation? How do you give your company a secure place to connect when everyone is working from home? How do you find the information you need or the person who can help you? How do you understand the context behind all of these messages and communication? And how do you automatically CC the right people and ensuring that you're including all the relevant folks? And this ultimately, we believe, helps you work forward and faster. But this isn't easy. And so we have a customer success team here at Slack that is here to partner with our customers through this change. And so we are really the post-sales organization that's focusing on how our customers adopt and gain value from the Slack platform. So how do we do that? So our methodology is quite simple. So the first thing is we understand what are our customers' business objectives? How does that translate in their language? And so many of you may use Slack or a tool like Slack. And so we look at what's the company trying to do? What are individual users trying to do? What's a sales user trying to do? They're trying to close business faster. They're trying to be more collaborative across their product lines. What's a support user trying to do? What's an engineering user trying to do? They're often trying to get code out faster. In support, they're trying to understand how they collaborate and get information more quickly. And so we translate that into a Slack value proposition. And we then measure that across three key areas. The first is adoption. So are our employees actively using Slack to get their work done? The second is maturity. So could employees gain efficiencies beyond just chatting with folks, but actually using automation and connecting workflows to their other applications that they're using in their business workflows? And then ultimately sentiment. So sentiment is also really important. Are customers feeling that Slack is making a difference? Is it making their lives simpler, more pleasant, more productive? And we call all of that usage, and we measure that across the maturity score. And so, how do we actually do this? We do this through kind of four key areas. And it's really important that we bring a mix of resources to help drive this business value with our customers. And so, the first is we have a customer success manager. So, this is a designated resource that offers guidance and best practices to help our customers improve their maturity, their adoption, and their value. We then have success specialists. So these are subject matter experts, and they go in and they do hands on execution to drive these outcomes. These are usually for a fixed period of time, unlike the customer success managers who are assigned to our customers for the duration of their partnership with Slack. And these success specialists are specialists in the area of change management. So we call them experience consultants to really help drive specific change, especially as you're maybe launching Slack for the first time. We have technical architects who help build those integrations to all those other applications and systems so that you can really integrate your overall workflow in Slack. We have learning consultants that actually drive the education as customers are moving on to the Slack platform. But we know some customers also like to be able to do self-guided things. So we've got Help Center, we do interactive tutorials in app. We have role-based handbooks, so the sales users, the support users, the engineers. We have a blog. We also do webinars, and we have a whole host of other programs that I'll actually talk about in a few minutes around some of the tactics. So we have a bot called SuccessBot that we can put into our shared channels with our customers so that we can prompt them and send best practices. We have champions programs, which I'll go into a little more detail, where we connect our customers together. And then finally, we have a customer experience team, which is available 24 by 7, 365 days a year. And we have over 100 plus specialized agents that support our customers in 5 different languages. So we believe by bringing this mix of resources that we can use at the right time based on where our customers are in with our journey, that we can ultimately drive greater adoption, which results in greater value for our customers. And so next, I'm going to talk about what are some of the 3 kind of key tactics that we use to kind of help build this customer centricity culture here at Slack. And the very first thing we did was to create a common metrics or a common language. When I first got to Slack, product was kind of measuring adoption and usage very much at a feature level, but yet on our sales and customer success side, we were really talking to customers about value. And value is not an individual feature that drives it. It's usually a set of features that are grouped together. And so it was really important that we created a scoring system and metrics that we were sharing with our product counterparts. And so that when we talked about where a customer was in their journey, or when we talked about areas that customers weren't adopting as much, or areas that they were adopting, we were speaking the same language. We were talking apples to apples. And so that was really important. So we created what was called a maturity score. And this maturity score, it's designed to show where our customers fall on the spectrum of maturity against other customers with a similar team structure. And so this, we again believe, ultimately results in higher value realization. And so for us at Slack, there's kind of 4 key areas that we focused on. It's stickiness. So what % of users can't work without Slack? It's communication. Are they using Slack to communicate on a daily basis? And then power users. So how well is Slack being used as a communication medium? And then finally, beyond messaging. So are they being more sophisticated in their usage of Slack? So are they actually integrating to their other systems, building their workflows within Slack? And so again, these components are compared to their peers. And so it's a cohort of users. And then we ultimately are able to look at how those customers perform, and are they renewing and are they expanding with Slack, which means that they're getting great value from it. And so we're constantly evolving this model. So there's a couple things that I want to say about this model. The first is, when we first set out to do this, we got a lot of pushback from the other folks in our company that said this could be a fool's errand. It's very difficult to get this exactly right. And we said, this is super important that we get this out there, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be directionally correct. And that's really important, is that you take this iterative approach. You don't wait for perfection to create some sort of scoring mechanism, because our customers are evolving. Look at how quickly the world's changed. Our product is evolving. We're constantly adding new features, and how our customers are using our product is evolving. And so therefore, our scoring system has to evolve with that. And so I encourage all of you, no matter what type of company you're in, technology, you're selling other services, other products, to really come up with a mechanism by which you can see how your customers are utilizing and obtaining value from your product. And again, I often talk to some of this, compare this to getting your children to brush their teeth. So I don't know how many of you have young children. Fortunately, mine are a little older now, but I remember trying to get them to brush their teeth. And the very first thing that we did was try to just establish that habit of every single morning and every single evening before going to bed, that they just do brush their teeth, and that they becomes habitual for them. So that's the first thing we're looking for, is like, are our customers logging into Slack? Are they just creating that habit? Then the next thing I worked on with my kids is, okay, great, you now are brushing your teeth every morning and every evening, but are you actually like brushing them for a while, and are you getting back there and getting your molars and really utilizing your toothbrush in a more effective way? And so how we translate that to Slack is, okay, great, you're logging in now every day, you're creating that habit, but are you actually starting to use our features and communicate more effectively? And then finally, you start to build these add-ons, and you start to get really sophisticated with your kids, and you start teaching them how to use mouthwash and how to floss their teeth. And so for us at Slack, that's around really taking advantage of building integrations and harnessing the power of our entire platform. And so if you think about that again towards whatever product or service you're selling, you can think about how you build upon creating kind of those habits so that your customers are ultimately taking the full advantage of your product or service. And so this is an example maturity score here. You can see it's all based on 100. And again, this is a metric that we use in 3 ways. The first is we use this as a shared common scoring system with other folks internally, especially our product teams. 2, we use this with our customers. This is a great tool. So we set up quarterly business reviews with our customers. And the first thing we do is we show them their score and how they're comparing to their other customers that are similar to them. And we're able to talk about what are some areas that we can do, that we can jointly create kind of a strategic plan on things that we need to focus on together. We can also look at how is the customer evolving and improving over time. So we're comparing this every quarter to how they're using Slack. And then finally, we use this internally within customer success to say, what are those programs, or what are the things that we need to do to really drive this for our customers in a more efficient way? So for example, if beyond messaging in this particular example is a little lower, it means they're not using as many applications or integrating as much as they could. And so we might then send webinars, push, different conversations to our customers on how they can build these integrations, how they can leverage some of our pre-built integrations. We might send technical architects out to our customers that are showing a weakness in this area. And so we're able to kind of really zone in and apply the right resources to help affect this overall score, which again results in value. All right. So now that we've got this shared metrics and we're constantly looking from a quantitative standpoint for how our customers are utilizing our product, it's also important that we amplify their voice, which is a more qualitative way. And so we do that through ensuring that we're the go-to source for customer feedback by distilling key product issues, amplifying the voice of our customers, and successfully advocating for their increased customer value. And so here is our product gap program. And so it's a relatively simple program, but it's important that we have a process and we programatize this. And so the first thing we do is we ask anyone, so our customer success managers, our sales engineers, our technical architects, they can capture a gap. So anytime they're working with a customer, they can understand where is a feature that maybe a customer could really utilize to unlock greater value for them. And so they identify that, they log it. We actually use Salesforce as our record to do this. And then on a monthly basis, we prioritize this. So we look and we assign a revenue value. So for our business, it's ARR. And we bucket them into themes. And then we align this across our leadership team. So now we've got this prioritized list that is bucketed by themes. It's got revenue implications associated to it. And those revenue implications could be revenue that unlocks new business or actually retains current business and helps unlock current customers, which could also result in expansion. And we have a meeting. So we have tactical meetings with our kind of 4 areas, product areas with their product managers on a monthly basis. And then on a quarterly basis, we get the key stakeholders across Slack leadership. So that could be myself, our CEO, our head of product, our head of sales. And we really walk through the top kind of themes. And then from there, we kind of facilitate what happens. So we may move that into a roadmap item, which we then put out to our customers' beta program. We may say this isn't something we're going to do, which is also equally important so that we can communicate that back to our customers and create workarounds for them. So again, every team might have, slight variations of their goals. So in pre-sales, it's all around unlocking kind of new business blockers. In post-sales, we're really looking for retaining those customers and unlocking value, which could also create expansion. And then our product teams, it's so important that they get this regular feedback loop so they understand how they're prioritizing their work. And this has to go both ways. This isn't just us communicating to product or product communicating to us. We're constantly having conversations. And again, it's so important that you categorize these. So there's 4 areas we talk about. The first is this on the roadmap? So is this something we actively have planned with a date to do? Is this something we agree that we need to do, but we haven't actively planned for it, so it's considered in the future? Or is it something that is not planned? So we have not planned to do it. We aren't sure if we're going to do it. Or finally, we believe that this is not something that we're going to do, that it is not in correlation to what our product vision and company is for. So now we have this common set of metrics. We have a mechanism by which we can amplify the voice of our customer. And then we now want to kind of connect our customers together and connect them into the rest of our organization who doesn't get a chance to talk to customers all the time. And so we say we're merging this customer success and our advocacy. And so one of the things that has been hugely successful for us is that we've created a community called the Slack's Global Champion Network. And what this is these are a connection of hundreds of our customers, and we connect them together. And we do that through several areas. Pre-COVID, they would connect in person across various cities around the world. We then have a specific Slack workspace so that they are in there and they can communicate and connect with each other in a virtual environment. Now that we're in the COVID world, we've set up synchronous virtual events as well. And then we invite them to participate in our Slack Product Ambassador program, which I will talk about in a few minutes. So you're like, great, well, what is a Slack champion? So a Slack champion is someone who has deep passion about collaboration technology and Slack itself. They've become a Slack expert, if you will, or have strong knowledge in our platform. They're an effective communicator, and they're a respected go-to person amongst their team and in their organization. And so these champions now are brought together. They can communicate with each other, but then we've further expanded that to be part of our Product Ambassador program. And so what this does is we now connect our Slack champions with our Slack product team to conduct rapid testing and collect feedback on potential upcoming releases. And so this is so fantastic for us. So we did a new user interface release a few months ago, and the first people that got it were the champions in the workspace. And so they were able to use it, touch it, feel it, understand from our product teams about what the goals of that were. They were able to give direct feedback as to what worked and didn't work. And now they were really becoming experts in this before it got rolled out to the masses into their companies. And so they were really kind of in the know and really able to advocate for that feature within their company. And so you can see we have some upcoming features that we're also adding in there, some search shortcuts for Google and Outlook Calendar, adding channels from an email, all of those types of things. And so you can kind of see, for those of you that don't use Slack, this you get a view for kind of what Slack looks like. But for those of you that do, you can see some screenshots here. We have Christina Meng, who runs our champion program. She's saying, all right, here is how we're going to start having you test. Here's the process. We can see sentiment from the team. They're very excited to hear about this. And then they can actually submit this feedback directly in Slack. And then other people, you can see they have a plus sign. They can react and say, oh, yes, I saw this too. And then it can have conversations so people can chime in and say, oh, with product, like, what do you mean by this suggestion? Can you actually clarify that a little bit more? And so this is an extremely powerful program, and our champions are loving it, as well as our product organization. So those are kind of 3 tactics that hopefully you can find beneficial, and no matter what type of organization you have, creating those kind of quantitative shared metrics, having a process by which you can qualitatively bring that voice of your customer back in, and then a program by which you can connect customers together and connect them directly back into your organization. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't say the most important quality is hire a great team. When I started at Slack 4 years ago, we did not have a customer success team, or we actually had a small customer success team. There were only six folks on board. And so it was really important that we hired a strong leadership team that embodied the values of Slack. And then they ultimately hired a really strong team underneath them. So for us, it's empathy, courtesy, thriving, craftsmanship, playfulness, solidarity. And so we really ensured that we got that. And I think we have the best people around. So thank you so much for hearing me out today. I am going to be here for questions during and after the presentation as well.
Thank you so much, Christina from Slack. What stands out for me is that there is rigor and discipline in Slack's thinking, using customers to guide success at every single step of the way. Every aspect of Slack's strategy always comes back to making the customer's life easier. My thanks again to Christina Kosmowski at Slack. Now, let's continue the Customer Catalyst Conference.